CC from digitalartteacher.com. Now it is time to actually start adding images or graphics to your pages. At this point, you should have your layout pretty much set on your page, and all you need to do is add the content and do some editing. The layout that you created may not stay exactly how you've designed it on every page. As you add images, you may need to resize the frames to fit your images and consequently resize other elements. But this will give you a good starting point to work with as you move forward. The first thing you need to know is how images work in InDesign. You see, InDesign doesn't actually store any images or graphics within its file. It actually links to the images outside the program. Let me show you what I mean. If you look in the links panel, which should still be docked to the right, my project doesn't currently have any links. That means that I haven't added graphics or images yet. For the fun of it, I'll add an image that I have on my computer to show you what a link looks like. If I click and drag my image into my document on an empty space, what I mean by that is that I don't drag it into one of the frames, I get what's called a loaded cursor. You know that it's loaded because you can see a thumbnail of the image. If I single click, it will place the image at its full size. If I click and drag with this loaded cursor, it will place the image within the frame that I create. If I drag it inside one of my placeholder frames, it will place it inside the frame. If you can't see very much of your image, it may have loaded the image at its full resolution. To fit the image in the frame proportionally, go to the Properties panel. Then select Fit Frame Proportionally. But you need to be careful about how you place your images in your document, because the image doesn't actually live within InDesign. Anything that you do outside of InDesign will affect it inside InDesign. For example, if I decide to clean up my downloads at some point, or move or delete some files, it will create problems within this document. Watch as I delete this image. And now, if I go back into InDesign, there's a question mark next to the image's thumbnail and on the image within the document. If this happens to you, you will either have to replace the image you deleted or relocate it within your files and relink it if you moved it. The numbers to the right of each thumbnail indicate which page that this image is on. Now, if I were to update a file, say by cropping it in Photoshop, you will see this yield sign. This is a little bit easier to correct. All you need to do is click the Update link icon. Now I'm going to go to behance.com and find some images that I want to display in my little magazine. I'll be displaying different designers and their works on each page. I'll start out by clicking on the Discover tab, then click Graphic Design. There are some categories that you can look through if you're interested in something specific, but I'm going to scroll through the main graphic design page. When I find one that shows one of the principles well, I'll click on it and find the image I like. Then right-click and save it to my computer by clicking Save Image As. If there's no Save Image As option, that likely means the designer does not want you to use it. And if I scroll down to the bottom of this page, I should see All Rights Reserved. If you're not familiar with copyright restrictions, that means the designer does not want you to use the image unless you ask them for permission. Other projects allow for limited use. If I right-click on this project image, it does give me an option to save image as. And if I scroll down to the bottom, you can see these three icons. If I hover over them, they say Attribution, Non-Commercial, No Derivatives. This means that if you use the image, you need to tell who the design was made by, first of all. Second, you can't sell it or use it for your own work. And lastly, if you change or transform the design in any way, then you're not allowed to display it anywhere. Anyway, it is a good practice to save specific names to your images when you save them. For example, I'm going to save this project with the artist's name, the number 1, and the principal that I'm going to display it with. I'm also going to save the link to this page so I know where all of my images came from in the pasteboard next to the page I'll be putting it onto. The next thing you need to do is to save them or move them into your links folder for this project. So now it's your turn. Find up to 8 artists that you admire. You can find them on Behance or by doing a Google search. You can find more designs by this artist by clicking on their name. If you're interested, any of the designers' work that I've saved through this video can be found in the description. If you click on an image to zoom in, note that you won't have the Save Image As option. You'll have to click Escape to get back to the main page. Save a few designs that you like and display each of the 8 principles of design outlined in the first video of this series. Put the images in your project folder. You can add your images to the pages now, but you may want to wait until the next video where I'll explain how to edit the contents of the boxes you've created.